Hey guys, it's Oluvids, and welcome back to my review series of The World Ends With You, the animation. Last time we got up to the end of week 1, so if you're not caught up on the past 3 reviews I made, be sure to watch that and come back, because now we're starting week 2. So Neku's back in the Reaper's game, and he's just thinking about how Shki didn't get to go back home, like we saw in the last episode. Then he gets his mission, alongside a bunch of screaming. Well, the actual mission seems to be hidden in a little equation, but there's no time to figure that out, because Neku's kinda getting attacked by some crab noise. However, he can't actually shoot his old reliable fire sight because he has no partner. You pretty much can't defend yourself without one, so Neku takes a pretty big hit from them. That's when he's caught by some smug looking kid. He forms a pact and Neku immediately springs into action and takes down the noise. The other guy does a bit of fighting, but he doesn't seem to be putting that much effort into it. After the noise were defeated, the smug kid starts clapping at Neku and acting like he already knows him. He also says that he's been watching him, which honestly that's pretty creepy, but he also tells Neku that his name is Yashiya Kiryu, though he also says to call him Joshua. Small tangent, but in the game he says mother and father call him Joshua. Who's mother and father? Anyway, after that, Neku touches Joshua's shoulder and he seems to be able to scan him somehow, even though he's apparently a player. He can't really make out what he's seeing just yet, but this raised up all the red flags for Neku. Josh tries to tell Neku to trust your partner. It's not really working at the moment. So Josh figures out the riddle from earlier, and apparently it's just the same mission as episode 1, which is to get over to 10-4. In the meantime, while the players are heading over there, Karia notes that it's been a while since the game went on for 2 weeks straight. We can gather that it's been longer than 2 years ago, since Uzuki has been a Reaper for 2 years and she didn't even know about it. I wonder if they'll ever make a game or some sort of mention about whatever happened at that point. Anyway, when they get there, they see some junk pile that's there for some reason, and the math guy we saw in the first episode's on top of it. If you don't remember his name, this guy is called Sho Minamimoto, and he's the new game master for this week, replacing Hikashizawa. After Sho yells about Zeta slow when factoring hectopascals, he seems to note that he didn't think Neku would be in the game this time around. This could mean one of two things. One, it could mean that he finds it strange that Neku's playing twice in a row, or it could be some other reason. Seems like Neku thinks that Sho knows him somehow, and apparently Neku being here seems to bring Sho closer to his goal. Well, a couple other players were able to figure out the riddle too, and they made it over to 10-4. This includes the couple we saw in episode 2 and 3, along with this guy wearing a Muscaratus hoodie and some other randos. Actually, I want to take another quick tangent to talk about the brands of The World Ends With You. So, like I said, this guy's wearing a Muscaratus hoodie, and we also see some brands like D+B and Hipsnake. Those brand names are actually based on the animals from the Chinese zodiac. Muscaratus is the rat, D+B is dangerous buffalo, and Hipsnake is obviously snake. The sequel game somewhat follows this pattern too, with Coney Coney being based on the old British word for rabbit, which is coney. Just figured you should know that cool fact if you're new to the series. So back over to the actual plot. Even though everyone at 10-4 completed the mission, Sho decides to call in some noise and tries to make the players turn on each other. While some were killed by the noise, unfortunately, others did end up turning on their partners. While Neku tries to tell the new guys to trust their partners, well, they might as well all be wearing headphones too, because they pretty much ignore him and start going crazy. We also see Joshua pull off pieces of the trash heaps to attack, and this is an instance of the anime adding details of something that was in the games. In the games, we see Joshua drop random objects on enemies from seemingly out of nowhere, but now we know that he's actually pulling it off from the heaps. So he perfectly utilizes which week he comes in with his moveset, and I think that's pretty cool, honestly. So the noise are proven to be pretty tough, so they sync up and use a fusion move that works perfectly on them. While Joshua is saying that they're a great team, Neku is still a bit hesitant, and that brings them over to day 2 of the second week. When Neku wakes up, there's a couple things that he notices pretty quickly. One is that Joshua's on the phone with someone somehow, and 2 is that he seems to have gotten his memories back, and he knows the streets of Shibuya. The mission comes in, and they gotta figure out another math riddle, but it seems to be pointing them towards Route 3. According to Josh, the Reapers identify the streets by route numbers instead of their names like normal people. Josh seems kinda sketchy to me, cause I don't know why he would know that, but he also teaches Neku and the audience that you can actually shop at stores that have special Reaper stickers on them. Once you go in, people are able to see you again, and you can buy things like food or clothes. In the game, this is basically how you're able to do typical RPG things like increasing stats with food and armor with clothes. While they're on the way to Route 3, they get attacked by some strange looking noise. While normal attacks don't phase them, the fusion attack is what was able to take them down. I have a feeling that things are going to get tougher from here on. Right after that, Neku ends up taking some damage, but this time it's some mental and emotional damage. First you see Shiki's friend Eri buying flowers to leave at her grave, and though she can't see or hear him, Neku feels guilty and apologizes for being the reason that Shiki still hasn't come back to life. This is actually a really good scene because not only is this an exclusive anime scene, but it's the only time that Neku ever really talks to Eri. When he's thinking about how she has so much to come back to in her life, Neku starts thinking about his, and that's when he realizes that he has no idea how he died, or why he's even here in the first place. He accidentally says that out loud, and then Joshua quickly steps in and says that it really doesn't matter. He also says that he should just follow what he tells him to do if he wants to get out of the game. Upon touching Josh again, Neku sees a vision that's a bit clearer than the one before. He sees himself bleeding on the ground, along with someone's shadow looking over him. Why can Neku scan him, and why is Josh looking at Neku's dead body? We don't know, but this is definitely scaring Neku a bit. And to top it all off, as if that wasn't enough already, we finally see what happened to B. Seems like he's a Reaper now, and he's giving Neku hands because apparently that guy Kitanichi sent him. When Neku tries to talk some sense into B, he just leaves and says that Neku's way too weak and not even worth the effort. Well, that was a pretty wild series of events. Before I talk about my thoughts on the episode, you may or may not have noticed that Joshua sounds pretty different from the games. Usually he sounds like,
even if you're looking at 3D, you have, there's a certain lacking of the 3D that...
And here he sounds more like...
Why so grim? Someone die? Haha, you're hilarious.
Well, it's because now he's voiced by a guy named Clifford Chapin. He's known as one of the main voices in a little show called My Hero Academia. And he plays Katsuki Bakugo. This is definitely a completely different energy from his My Hero role. And it's definitely a different pitch from the original game. But his smug know-it-all attitude is still intact. I kind of like the deeper voice Joshua. Not sure if I like it more than the game voice, but it makes him seem like less of an annoying kid and more of a mysterious person who knows way too much to be a nobody. Good stuff, I like it. Anyway, this is probably my second favorite episode so far. Doesn't really have any amazing action, but I think the story is pretty strong here. It's got lots of twists and some mystery to it, and that's something you'll find a lot of people like about this series. This one's going to keep you hooked so that you'll keep trying to figure out who this new guy is. Moving over to the audio, the music's honestly nothing special for this episode, so nothing to really note of there. The animation and extra additions were on point, and of course there were still some really cool game quotes sprinkled around. If you were looking for some action, then this one probably won't do it for you, but if you were invested in the story, then this is going to be a great time. So anyway, that's going to be it for me, and thank you so much for supporting these videos. If you enjoyed this video and find yourself watching multiple of my videos, definitely leave a subscribe and a like, and I wish you guys a happy new year, and I'll be seeing you guys next time.